Every year, it feels like some theme parks are heading in the right direction, while others are heading in the wrong direction. This can be for a whole host of reasons. New rides, lack of new rides, new management, or attendance can all impact how we view a park's future. In this video, we'll look at parks that I believe to be heading in the right direction and parks that might just be heading in the wrong direction. To start this video, we have to talk about Lost Island Theme Park in Altoona, Iowa. I believe at this point, this park actually does have a bright future, but it wasn't looking that way for the first couple years of operation. After the success of Lost Island Water Park down the road, they decided to build a theme park, and so Lost Island Theme Park opened in 2022. The opening year was pretty rough though. They saw just 27,000 visitors, which was obviously far less than they had hoped and expected. This was about a third of the water park's attendance that year. There are many reasons for this low attendance number, but one of them is ride availability. Along with a major water ride, the park's star coaster, Matugani, didn't open the opening year in 2022. This coaster is being relocated from Liseberg in Sweden, and there was a delay on the shipment of one of the parks, causing the coaster to be delayed a full year until 2023. This coaster has since opened to good reviews. But in 2022, without this coaster and without much marketing, Lost Island suffered a 7-figure loss and ultimately ended up shortening their season. They were open just 65 days. It seems that that was a wise economic decision. They've gotten those rides open, and since then, their attendance has doubled. This is awesome to see, and for the 2025 season, they will be receiving an RMC Raptor coaster called Fire Runner. It is modeled off the prototype Raptors, but I'm not sure how much that matters because this is an excellent roller coaster and I think a perfect addition for a park the size of Lost Island. And between Matugani and Fire Runner, they're going to have a pretty legit 1-2 punch at Lost Island, and that's great to see. So, I think this park is turning in the right direction. Did this park have a very discouraging start? Absolutely, and I was scared that they were even going to make it through those first couple of years, but it looks like they've been able to make it through, and hopefully Fire Runner is a great way for them to continue to advertise themselves. This park is doing a lot right, and I wish them all the success. If you happen to be in Iowa, please consider giving this place a visit. Let me know down in the comment section below, do you think Lost Island has a bright future or a dark future? For parks with the darkest future, let's get the obvious one out of the way, California's Great America in Santa Clara, California. I hate to say it because I've had so many fun experiences here during the years, but this park is pretty obviously in the darkest future category unless something drastically changes. If you haven't heard, this park was sold to real estate developer Prologis and will close within the next decade. This is pretty old news at this point, but it's still a bummer that we're losing a park that can be as solid as California's Great America is when it's operating well. Great America is very nicely landscaped, especially in the front half of the park, and they've got some excellent roller coasters like Railblazer, the RMC Raptor, which yes is a clone of the soon-to-be Fire Runner that we just talked about, and Gold Striker, the GCI wooden coaster. We'll see how many of Great America's rides get relocated, but at this point I don't think it's very many considering how old most of them will be by the time this park gets closed. So we'll see what happens, but ultimately this is clearly a park with a very dark future. For the brightest future, favorites of major chains come to mind. This is intentionally vague, but it's made to encapsulate the parks within theme park chains that get investment on a very regular basis. Parks like Six Flags Magic Mountain, parks like Cedar Point, Kings Island, or Islands of Adventure, etc., etc., etc. No matter which theme park chain you look to, there's going to be a favorite. These parks just get investment so often that there's no way they don't have a bright future. Now, there will be a couple parks later in this video that are in a theme park chain, but I'll explain why those specific parks are mentioned and not some of the other parks at the top of the chains, like Cedar Point or Kings Island or Six Flags Magic Mountain. That might seem like a little bit of a word salad, but hopefully it'll make sense as we go. Moving back to the darkest future, Six Flags America is a park that I have little confidence in. Their last roller coaster was in 2014, and that was a relocation. Before that, they got one in 2012. That was a relocation. Their last original coaster was back in 2001. That is just not okay. Six Flags has done this park so dirty, and I'm not 100% sure why. They have gotten some new rides and attractions in recent years, and they did re-theme some of their rides for the 2024 season, including their Vekoma SLC Mind Eraser. This is good, this is nice, but it's not new roller coasters, and that's the main thing that's making me question the future of Six Flags America. How long is this collection of rides going to keep guests coming in? I guess we'll have to wait and see, and maybe they'll get a new ride like some of the other weaker parks in the Six Flags Entertainment Corporation chain I've seen in recent years. I would love to see it. Going back to the brightest future, let's talk about Energylandia. Energylandia is a very unique case. This park essentially receives government funding, and so it means that they can add coasters at a very fast clip. Just think about this. This park is going into year 11 of operation, and they have 19 roller coasters. Now there are some clones and redundant rides here, but still, that's pretty wild. This park has received new coasters just about every single year since they opened, and it feels like every year they're getting a more high quality attraction. It's been good to see this park invest a bit more into their theming game. The new sections of the park have pretty decent theming. Now, I would love to see them go back and improve the old sections because it's a very odd juxtaposition. This park is going to pass Magic Mountain for the most coasters in the world. I think it's just inevitable. So with all those factors, I think it's safe to say Energylandia has a bright future. A park with a potentially dark future is Michigan's Adventure. Now, I thought this for a long time, and they continue to operate, and it seems like they're profitable. But like Six Flags America, new roller coasters, and to some extent new rides, are just very hard to come by. Legacy Cedar Fair has treated this park pretty poorly for a long time. Outside of a kids coaster in 2021, their last coaster that they added was way back when in 2008, and that was a relocation. You have to go back to 1999 to find the last original coaster. That's a really long time. Without Shivering Timbers, this park doesn't have a whole lot to offer, and it's unfortunate that they really haven't improved their offerings in the last 2 decades. Like I just said with Six Flags America, hopefully the new Six Flags Entertainment Corporation will look at some of these weaker parks and maybe throw them a bone. Maybe. On the other side of the coin, I think Six Flags Fiesta Texas has a bright future. Okay, so here's one of those chain parks I mentioned a moment ago that I don't believe to be at the top of the chain, but it's still a park within that chain that I think has a bright future. Fiesta Texas doesn't have as much land available as some of those other parks, and also, it's a park that often doesn't get the biggest or most impressive rides, they get the prototype rides. For whatever the case, it really is a testing ground for Six Flags. They got the first SNS free spin for the company, they got the first RMC with an inversion in Iron Rattler, they got the first RMC single rail, and then they got, in recent years, the first B&M coaster that the legacy Six Flags company had bought in a long time. So they get investment on a pretty regular basis, but this park has one of the best atmospheres in the entire Six Flags chain and seems to be operated better than most Six Flags parks. And it's also encouraging to see them going back and adding theming to old rides and adding theming with their new attractions, like Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger and the pre-shows that ride has to offer. Park management really seems to care about Fiesta Texas, and that's great to see. Going back to the dark side, let's talk about Valley Fair. This is very similar in terms of why it's on the list to Six Flags America and Michigan's Adventure. It's mostly here because of the fact that it hasn't gotten a new coaster in a very long time. Valley Fair's last new coaster was probably their best attraction that they have on offer, and that is the GCI Wooden Coaster Renegade. The problem is that this coaster opened back in 2007. This park's 50th anniversary is next year in 2026, so maybe, just maybe, they'll see a good time to add a new attraction here. I'm not totally convinced that this will be the case, but if there was any time to do it, now would be the time, or I guess next year would be the time. Epic Universe hasn't even opened yet, but I think it's safe to say that this park has a very bright future. Maybe that's crazy to say because they haven't even opened, but this place is going to be, well, epic. This place is currently scheduled to open on May 22nd, 2025, with 4 operating roller coasters and many other dark rides and attractions to check out. This park looks incredible, and I can't wait to see what it looks like. It'll be interesting to see how soon Universal invests in new attractions for this park, and I would imagine that they're going to let the current park sit as it is for a few years before investing into something new, but whatever they do, I'm sure it's going to be great. Last one for the darkest future, and it's actually kind of a two-parter. This is IMG Worlds of Adventure and Motion Gate Dubai, both located in, you guessed it, Dubai. Objectively, these are both good theme parks. IMG is entirely indoors, outside of a ride or two, and Motion Gate has some more outdoor sections, but they both do theming very well. The main problem why they're here is attendance. Attendance has been far under what these parks would have hoped and expected. Both of these parks are going into their 9th season of operation, so there's definitely a chance that they can turn around their attendance, especially with the quality of their rides and attractions. I hope this is the case because they definitely deserve recognition. But if attendance doesn't improve, or if it even gets worse, they could be in trouble. And lastly, I think that Tokyo Disney Sea has a very bright future. Now, like Six Flags Fiesta Texas, this is a park that is, you could say, the favorite of a chain. This time it's Disney. But this park, and this resort as a whole, is a bit different. The park is actually owned by the Oriental Land Company, and it's operated by Disney. This means that there are bigger budgets to work with, and so you get incredible additions like we saw in 2024 with Fantasy Springs. This area was very expensive and featured 4 high-quality dark rides. Pretty impressive stuff, and it shows that Disney can still do good work when they have the necessary budget. I think this is part of the reason why Tokyo Disney Sea is one of the best themed parks in the world. In fact, it might be the best themed park in the world. Disney can basically do just about anything they want here, and so I can't see a scenario where Tokyo Disney Sea does not have a bright future. So let me know down in the comment section below, do you agree with my picks? Do you think that these parks have bright futures or dark futures? Let me know down below, and if you have any more ideas for parks that fall into either category, you can leave those in a comment as well. And with all that being said, I appreciate you stopping by, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.